Hi everyone, I'm Hamid Kohan, President and CEO of LegalSoft. I have just finished an insightful conversation on the legal helm with BIM Dave, discussing the law firm growth, operational efficiency, and the role of a technology in the modern legal practices. If you're thinking about the future of your firm, you will want to tune in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Legal Helm, where we explore the evolving intersection of law and technology. I'm your host, Bim Dave, CEO of Helm 360. Today's guest brings a unique blend of engineering roots, Silicon Valley experience, and legal industry innovation. Hamid Kohan is the president and CEO of LegalSoft, a company that helps law firms scale through virtual staffing, automation, and modern operational support. Hamid's career spans software engineering, tech leadership, and now legal sector transformation. Since founding LegalSoft, he's focused on giving law firms the people, processes, and tools they need to grow efficiently and free up lawyers to focus on serving clients. Under his leadership, LegalSoft has become a go-to partner for firms looking to modernize how they operate. Hamid, it's great to have you on the Legal Helm. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, BM. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for that.
So Hamid, again, thanks for taking some time out of your busy schedule to join us today. I would love if you could kind of share with our audience a little bit about your early career in software engineering and tech that kind of led you into the legal industry and how you ended up founding LegalSoft.
Sure. I went to engineering school in Northern California. I graduated when I was 17, which was kind of early. So I right away got recruited into Silicon Valley as my first engineering job. Was there before there was kind of internet, laptops, cell phones, and everything else. So we worked for several companies like Sun Microsystem. I was there for like 8 years. Hitachi, Compaq, variety of HP, those companies that I worked on. We had a couple of good successful runs with IPOs and so forth. And then I moved to Los Angeles, where I had a tech company working with data management system for nonprofit organizations. And suddenly I got my MBA in San Jose also. And then I came across the legal sector just as a sort of friendly evaluation of a friend's law firm. And oh my God, I was shocked that how far behind they were. Imagine coming from Silicon Valley and then going into law. We were pushing the edge of technology in every second globally. And then I came to law, and this is like 6-7 years ago. My first impression was that if I leave the attorneys alone, they're still wearing their pagers waiting at the fax machine because they refuse to adopt technology. So that was my first impression. And I started working in sort of realigning, automating, staffing, skilling law firms the way that we did in the Silicon Valley way, where you don't grow 10%, 20%. You like 3x, 5x, the tech method. You go global, you go do this. So I started doing that for the firms. My first challenge with the most firms that I started doing management consulting or coaching or fractional COO, whatever they called it, was lack of qualified, affordable legal staff. So every time I wanted to expand and grow the firm, it was like, great, well, I can get the cases, I can do this and this, but where am I going to get the people? So I started looking sort of globally, thinking outside the box, finding some trained talent globally in multiple countries. And the first time I introduced that to the firms in California, they all said, "You crazy? I'm not basically trusting anybody globally to my CRM and my financials and my client information, especially HIPAA compliance and stuff." And I said, "Look, even if you call right now your insurance, your American Express, your bank, everybody you talk to is not in the US, basically. So we are trusting them with all of the information anyway. And the big boys are doing it." So I started recruiting, training, and placing virtual staff globally into the law firms in the US. So it started from legal assistants, went to intake specialists, went to case managers, paralegals, all the way to remote attorneys, what we call them. There are attorneys in these other countries like Colombia, Ecuador, so forth, but they basically put their practice aside and become like a paralegal or a junior associate for the attorneys here. So they do discoveries, they do motions. They even do drafting of complaints and so forth for the firms here. So now we have close to 1,000 firms that we've done this for, and over 3,500 active positions into the firms, anywhere from personal injury, employment, mass tort, and all the to the transaction law, immigration, family law, all of the above. So that was the first sort of initiative. And then we develop a platform to be able to manage it, because now you have all of these people. We have offices in 7 countries. How do we manage them, incentivize them, so they don't become like an Upwork people, where they jump jobs every day for a little increase in pay, or they work 3 jobs. So we develop a platform where we monitor and track all of our virtual staff on screenshots every 15 minutes. We record their calls. We record every URL they go to, keyboard, mouse, and we give them a huge incentive program to have our retention, because you don't want to spend the time getting your virtual staff somewhere and then train them or work with you for 6 months and then jump ship. So we even have retirement accounts set up in 7 countries. So people actually start having like similar to 401ks that we have here, they have it there, to just make sure they're fully committed into the firms. We have firms anywhere from 1 or 2 staff. My several largest firms, they have over 100 of virtual staff in the firm that is spread throughout the entire organization.
So really, in terms of the kind of virtual staffing element of it, that's kind of how that's now kind of grown into what sounds like more of a platform that you're offering, right? A technology platform.
Yes.
So help me understand why are firms coming to you, and what's the kind of core problem that you're solving for them? I understand the talent piece of it, addressing the kind of talent element of it. But what's the core focus in terms of the problem that you're solving for these law firms?
One of the big differentiation in between us and other competitors is that we have a lot of in-house legal experts. Like, we have legal masterminds working for us, former CEOs of the big firms as part of our organization. So we're not a staffing house. We're sort of like a legal services with a legal expertise. Like, we coach firms. We coach people within the firms that are not even the attorneys. So that's one big value add. And we know how to set up a very effective intake team that does 24/7 bilingual intake. It's not just providing the people, we're providing the skill set and expertise to make it effective and make it efficient. So that's one element. The second element is the platform. Let's say you have 5, 10 virtual staff with us. You manage their attendance, their timesheet, their incentives, bonuses, commissions, security, everything in the platform. And we have a talent pool that is set up by, again, legal expertise to identify talent candidates who have legal experience in a specific field of law that you work with. So let's say you're this is like a strange case where I had a class action employment firm in California that does 100% litigation, and they wanted a paralegal virtual staff who has worked in class action. I was like, I can't even find one in the entire Los Angeles that I can select, but we have an inventory of them in our talent. So our talent pool, when you log in, you search for those terms. So I'm an employment firm in California looking for a paralegal with bilingual, and we present the talent. They see the video of the candidate. They can set up interview. They can screen them, everything. And then you basically almost like you're putting into the shopping cart, and we onboard them. And then we help you manage them because they still remain ours. So it relieves a lot of pressure, especially with this platform, that you have no long-term contract, no long-term obligation. We take care of all the benefit. It's a fixed cost. You never have employer-employee relationship problems. So it makes it very scalable. That's why you can go from 1 to 100 really fast.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So when it comes to, so when we think about kind of some of those firms that are struggling with scaling, managing some of the overhead of hiring and all the other pieces of puzzle that are associated with growth, how does LegalSoft help them? Like you mentioned some of the kind of consulting aspect of what you do. I'd love to hear a little bit more about how you support a firm growing from that perspective.
So the first thing that we do, we call the firm evaluation system. So we have senior practice consultants here locally that they work with the firm and starting first evaluating the firm. So evaluation of the firm starts with like, what's your structure like? Almost 90% of them don't have a structure. It's like a bunch of people doing a bunch of work and there is a managing attorney, you know? So we said, we need to have an organizational chart just like any other. It doesn't matter if you're 5 of you or 500. We need to have an organizational chart. So we help them actually develop organization charts that says, this is operation, this is pre-lead, this is lead, this is accounting and finance and HR. So we lay it out and then we evaluate the kind of cases they have, how many of them they have, and making sure they have enough resources. Sometimes, like you say, personal injury case manager, the effective number for a case manager, personal injury to be effective is to have between 75 to 85 active cases. Some people have 30, some people have 150. So we try to adjust it. That's a consultation comes in because we know the numbers. When you work with 1,000 firms, and especially you're inside the firms, you learn a lot. Like what works, what doesn't work. Good, bad, and ugly, everything is present. So we say, okay, and then we have, when we evaluate the intake team, oh, we have a call center. So my first question or my consultants goes, so you trust your 7-8 figure call that you don't know what time of the day or night weekend comes in to some random stranger sitting somewhere else and only cares about how many minutes they keep you on the phone or the client on the phone, and you just lost a 7-figure case? Oh, shoot, I never thought about it that way. Well, it is. That call could come at 11 p.m. Saturday night and some random person call center. And so we set up a 24/7 in the firm virtual staffing intakers that cost the firm less than like $10,000 a month for full-time 4 hours. I mean, 4 staff 24/7. And they're trained by us and trained by the firm, and they incentivize when they actually retain a 6-figure, 7-figure client, right? So that's a big game changer as far as the financial goes. And then everything else through the system we do, and then we jump into their online presence. We have a company called Practice Management Solution or Practice 360. So they evaluate your entire online presence. Look, everybody who wants to convert from a lead to a client or refer somebody, your online presence is extremely important. Even with my kids, if you want to go to a restaurant, you want to spend $200, they go and check out the online presence. It's like, you're going to go to this place for dinner? Well, we need to see how it is. So anyway, we do the whole online presence as far as websites, social media posts, engagements, monthly communication of newsletters, mobile app, and all of that. So we take care of their online presence. And these are all separate services from separate companies. That is a part of LegalSoft Enterprise. Then, in a sense, last 2 years, we knew the book I wrote, it says How to Scale Your Stupid Law Firm, sort of created with that process. And then the first change was to take an existing firm that has like a bunch of people in the office working and make it like half virtual, half in-house. The next wave that is happening going forward from now is the firm is going to be divided up into 1/3 in-house, 1/3 virtual, 1/3 AI. So that brought us into the company we established called lawpractice.ai. So this is now for 2 angles. First of all, training all of our virtual staff in all the legal related AI tools. So they don't get confused between 500 AI tools that is out and there is 100 adding every month into it. It's a very, very overwhelming environment. So we're trying to consolidate it, develop what doesn't exist, bring into the game what exists, create a complete PI AI platform that does from client generations all the way to settlements, and train our virtual staff to use the same tools because somebody got to train them and it's not easy. So we're taking that initiative. So we basically took off the staffing problem, online presence problem, and the technology problem to basically make it a 360.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. And you touched on a very real issue that a lot of law firms or pretty much any business is facing these days is just understanding the value and defining the value and ROI of any of the AI products that are on the market, because there's just a plethora of them. What's your advice to firms that are kind of considering jumping on board with a new AI product that they've kind of been sold the dream of, and how do you measure the success of a product that could change the dynamic of your law firm?
I would only, me being a tech industry, 25 years or whatever, and seeing all the changes, nothing is like what's happening with AI. I've seen the .com evolution, I've done the wireless evolution, all of this stuff. This AI thing is crazy stuff. So it's very confusing. I would only jump on the AI platform or a service that has a long vision of being a single source AI platform. So for example, if you're using these major CRMs like Clio, Filewine, Lidify, MyCase, and those guys, you want that platform to do everything you want for the CRM, your client management system. You can't go get 5 different softwares to just manage your cases. It needs to be one. Now, the same thing applies to AI. The people who come in and say, I have an intake AI, and this one says, I have a drafting AI, and this one says, I have a demand AI, and this one says, I have discovery AI. I mean, it's impossible to one, find the right one, use the right one, train everybody on them, and then not have them being connected with each other, which is a broken piece. So my suggestion is for people who jump into things like, let's say, even up demands. Okay, demand is right smack in the middle of the process. So I got that done. What happens to the before and after? You know, so it needs to be a very 360 solution in the behalf of the company, and that's what we did. Then we started by doing a single sort of a service on lawpractice.ai, but we found that exact same problem, so we changed it to be a complete 360, one place, one system, with one training for everyone.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. So you kind of touched on the fact that you've seen you know some of the generational changes that have happened over the .com era and now AI. What would you say has changed in terms of your approach to managing an organization like LegalSoft over the years?
I think the biggest thing is overcoming the resistance of adopting new things or changing ways with the firm. That's always been the biggest challenge. The first thing they say is like, we've been doing it this way. We've been using this thing for like 20 years without changing it. I don't need a sort of a workflow automation process because John does this and give it to Julie, and Julie gives it to Mike, and then, but that's all things of the past. So adoption is one thing. Being open-minded and visionary, go with the flow. Look, these trains are leaving the station. You're either on it or you're off it. But the people who are on it get to the destination much faster than you do. So to stay competitive and being efficient, you need to be able to adapt and listen to new ideas and concepts, and take a bit of risk. Nothing is 100%. You're going to have some risk in there. So my big thing with the firm is just, I remember during a .com thing, since you mentioned it, there was like a 5,000 .com places were coming up with a single product and single, you buy a shoe here, you buy plate here, you buy cans there. And then Amazon came and said, no, you buy everything here. Right? So that's why we all go to Amazon, because we know everything is in it. If I have to go to 15 different, e-commerce sites, I go crazy and I probably don't even buy half of the stuff I buy. So the same thing with the AI happens. You got to be one place. It can't be 18 places. But people who are creating them, because my tech background, the tech guys only try to solve one single problem. So they focus on one thing and they produce it and lay it out. And this past 2 weeks, I had a call with 5 different AI companies who these startups who all just develop one thing, and not all stuck because the one thing doesn't work. It needs to be multiple things connected to each other. So they were actually having conversations with us for the acquisition of them, because they add a component to our solution, because one-offs doesn't work in.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think the ability to be able to kind of zoom out and see the big picture is so key for the future, right? And being able to connect the dots between the various problems that need to be solved. So I love that. I love that approach.
Right.
So in terms of that, the the kind of one of the key challenges you mentioned, which I think is probably has not changed over the years, is this cultural barriers to adoption, whether they be internal or external. How are you helping firms overcome them? So, we know the problems there. What are some of the practical things that firms can do, or that you're doing with firms to get them past that, so they get to a point where they can actually adopt technology at a pace that kind of serves the law firm in a positive way?
Hey John, how do I find out what we've invoiced my client?
How can I view my outstanding WIP?
How do I submit my expenses again?
Do we have next Monday off?
Monday off?
It's exciting to have fresh faces at your law firm, but onboarding them takes a lot of time and a lot of energy when everyone is remote. You're busy enough as it is. Helm 360 has the solution. Just ask Termi, Helm 360's next level chatbot solution for knowledge management. Termi can answer many of your new hires' questions for you without distracting you or anyone else at the firm. This means fewer frantic emails, fewer help desk tickets, more time and more focused productivity for everyone at the firm. Working with Termi, you can have those eager new employees up to speed in a snap. They may never need to ask you a question again. Check out helm360.com/Termi to see Termi in action and find out how it can make onboarding new hires as easy as sending an email.
It would always start with starting a conversation and starting saying that, yes, I'm interested to, use technology and processes and automation on my firm. I'm open to the conversation. It always starts from having a, open mind to listen. And then once you listen and agree, having a discipline of actually following it to make it happen. I remember a few years back when we were doing this expansion, one of the things I would bring up to the firm who wants to expand says, why are we just practicing in California? I mean, why such a major limitation? Imagine I'm coming from tech, which is everything planet-based. It's like, why don't we market this in like 50 countries? And now I'm coming here and it says California only. I'm like, why? So I started putting the notion of multi-state practice, which most of the people was like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm not licensed in Texas and Arizona and so forth. So I did the research, figured out there's a UBE program, Universal Bar Exam, that you take a test in one of these states, and all of a sudden you can literally practice in 39 states, right? So I'm like, okay, now I'm not stuck into one state. I can actually take cases in multiple states officially and handle it, especially when after COVID that nobody even goes to anybody's office for consultation or so. Every conference room that I know in every law firm is turning into offices now or lunchrooms because nobody ever goes there. So they don't care you have an office in Texas or not. They just want their case done properly. So that's another angle. When we're telling them, oh, look, you're not limited to one state that you're licensed in. All it takes is hire somebody from another state that is one of these UBE states. Unfortunately, California is not a UBE state, but there's 39 of them.
Yeah, no, may as well use that to your advantage, right?
Absolutely. It's almost like getting a business license into, New York. Okay, you get a business license, you can operate a business.
Yes, indeed. So I remember taking a look at your website, and one of the things that stood out to me was some of the client success stories that you've had. So you've obviously partnered with many law firms over the years, helping them with various solutions. Are there any success stories that kind of stand out in your mind as to ones where you feel like really proud that we partnered with a firm and you kind of helped them turn the business around or significantly improve what they do?
Sure, definitely. There was a firm in California that two young gentlemen started it, and I got involved with them, and they were talking about the logo, what the logo should look like, because they were young and they were just like, we started with the name and the logo, and so we did that, and then they started completely following the recipe and instructions. They were in the consumer protection market and personal injury both, two practice types. During the past 5 years, they went from 2 people firm to 350 people firm. And they basically dominated the market. And they done it all with following the recipe. Again, it goes back to virtual staffing. They have 139 virtual staff. They have completely automated the CRM system. They choose the right CRM. They automated the heck out of it. I made them invest a lot of money on customizing the CRM that they licensed, from one of those top three, but not just buying it for the sake of buying the CRM. Make it customizable that works for your firm or your people. And they're following the same discipline about marketing, getting referrals. A lot of people still a hang up about getting a referral and giving a referral fee. I'm like, why? I mean, you make money 15 different ways. I always use the example of when you walk into a Target and they have a gum in the front that they sell for 99 cents. They probably make a penny on it, all the way to the, flat screen TV in the end that it says 3,000, they make $700. But they sell them all because they make money off of everything. So creating a major referral program for them to get referral cases, hundreds and hundreds of them a month. At some point, they were getting like 700-800 cases a month from referral only. It's huge. A lot of people are close-minded about that. It's like, I don't want to give it 30-40% of my fee to John. Why not? You made 60%, he made 40%. Still money, So there's a lot of those things. Those success stories has to do with the people who adopt well, have instructions, follow it, and they have a discipline.
So if I'm a small law firm or mid-sized law firm listening today, and I'm considering taking the step into having some level of growth of my team through virtual staffing using your platform, what would be your advice to get them started? Like, what are the things that they should be preparing for, watching out for in terms of how they make that successful?
Sure. Everything starts with that initial conversation with our practice experts here, and it's all. Basically, there's no fees or charges or anything for this stuff. So if they start with a consultation that we can evaluate the firm's current status, and then also how ambitious they want to be. Attorneys go from very passive to very aggressive. So the plan has to be fitting their lifestyle, this work-life balance thing that's going on nowadays. I got 2 kids in law, so I know it's like there's some who don't care. They want to make a lot of money, want to work 7 days a week. And there's a bunch who want to be a 9-to-5ers. So once we figure out the DNA of the firm and where they want to go, how fast, then we customize the solution for them. It's not one size fits all. We have to customize it. And again, they get all of that expertise, directions, and information at no cost. So you got nothing to lose. They get that for staffing, they get for marketing, they get that for technology and AI. You get the whole thing, and there is no cost associated.
And then once they're up and running, so once they've got your platform in place and they're using your solutions to do things like some of the time tracking, billing, etc., that you mentioned, how long does that take? Like, how long does that process take? So if I'm a firm coming to you today and I want to get started, what's the typical kind of startup time to start things?
In about 2 weeks, they get onboarded with the platform and the staff in 2 weeks. So you have your first staff deployed at your firm in 2 weeks or less. And then from that point on, you've been contacted weekly, monthly, whatever, with our team of experts to see what's next and how to manage the one that you got, the platform and so forth, introduce you into the marketing services and the AI services and so forth. So we basically adopt our retention rate with the law firms is 93%. So that's a number I always drive by, is that if they didn't see a value, they wouldn't stick around. They go hire their own people, do their own thing. But with 93% retention rate of the firms, I think it gives me a lot of confidence in our service and the quality that we bring in.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. It's an amazing stat. And so when you're working with these firms and they're kind of up and running and they're starting to see growth, using this method of delivery, how is there a balance to be had between how fast you grow and how fast you scale, and maintaining quality of service, and how do you manage that piece of it?
Well, is that constant checking up and evaluating the growth and the quality. Sometimes we even tell our clients for the next 90 days, don't hire anybody, even though it comes from us. We said, don't. You need to get this thing up and running with your existing team and cases and so forth. And then we come back, reevaluate. Even when the virtual staff are not performing, we are the one going to them and say, I need to replace this person for you. We don't think that the quality or the quantity of the service is efficient. So we are very much driven on the quality of service that we provide and longevity of the relationship. We're looking at it in a very long-term basis. So we get very involved in the firms that way.
Yeah, very, very good. Good to hear. So what's next for LegalSoft? Are there new features, product areas that you're looking at, new practice areas, or any innovations that you're kind of looking at in the near term?
Sure. Every year we add a virtual staff skill set to the game. Like this year, we introduced law firm bookkeeping staff, both part-time and full-time, which basically means all of the payroll processing, account payable, receivable, they know how to deal with the trust account and IOTA account and doing all of that. So we started from like 1 or 2 positions. Now we have like 8 or 9 positions that it covers the entire firm from one end to another. So innovation in the way of a technology. So we're using tons of AIs to qualify candidates and place them into our talent pool. How to screen them, how to qualify them, how to tag them, and then how to manage them efficiently. Those are the new things, and also adding in new positions. So that's on that side. On the AI side, oh God, there's like 15 different AI initiatives to be able to complete the puzzle so the firm can use one AI platform for everything they need. And even if we don't make it in-house, we license and integrate it into the platform.
And on that AI front, how do you see things in future in terms of, obviously there's a lot of focus on agentic AI, really replacing certain functions within a law firm, right? In terms of some of the lower level duties at least, but maybe scaling up to others, especially when you introduce the AI avatars and things like that. How far do you think it goes, and how quickly do you think firms need to think about
In the
that?
transactional law, it pretty much goes from one end to another, because on transactional law, we actually completed a project for a client in the immigration where the AI does a complete intake, suggests the visa type, collects all the documentation, reads it, analyzes, and gives them feedback, fills out all the application forms, attaches all the supporting documents, submits it to immigration office. So no lawyering whatsoever from one end to another. Obviously, the attorney sees it and reviews it and so forth. I'm not dismissing that, but every position that he had from the intake all the way to paralegal is gone. On the contingency and litigation ones, again, is going to enhance or reduces the cost of intake, document collection, document summary, like you're doing a deposition prep or you're doing a discovery summary, motions, calendaring, all of that stuff going to be AI. There's still people needed and involved. It just reduces the need of the so much people to be involved. So I'm not saying it's going to wipe out, the whole firm staff, just like I did with the virtual staffing. I didn't say fire everybody you have in the office and I get you virtual staff. I said, if you have a pre-lead manager who has 9 case managers, you can reduce that to 4 and add 4 virtual case manager assistants and save $20,000 a month. So it's the same thing now with AI.
Yeah, no, makes total sense. I'm keen to know, Hamid, what keeps you motivated personally? Like you've been doing this for obviously a number of years now, looking in the tech space and legal. What's the vision that continues to drive you forward?
Optimizations and creativity on that is, I thought, for example, about a year and a half ago or whatever, it was like, okay, so visual staffing is as much evolution that we're going to bring into this running a law practice, right? And we were sort of like cruising with that idea. And this whole AI tech happened, and it sort of like made everything else sort of obsolete. And it was like, and it's moved so fast and so creative that I I get up at 3 a.m. and I start banging on the keyboard like I used to do in the tech days. It's like, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to figure this out, we need to figure that out. So for a while, there's going to be that merger that I mentioned about, 1/3 virtual, 1/3 in office, 1/3 AI, fully implemented, integrated, and connected together to be able to run the most effective, efficient law practice. That's all on the plaintiff side. We haven't even covered the defense side, which is a much bigger piece. And how do all of these laws are getting affected with, like, how do you do a billable hour with the AI? It's like you use the AI to do, what you would typically take you 8 hours to do. You just did it with AI. I'm not letting you charge me for 8 hour billable hours because I know you use the AI. So now there are actually big companies are sending official letters to their defense firms and telling them, if you're doing these following functions with the AI, we're not accepting billable hours anymore.
Yeah. No, I'm also hearing a lot of firms thinking about their pricing models and pricing strategies around some of the ways that they kind of sell these services. Because, like you said, I think fundamentally they have to charge for it because there's an investment in the technology at the end of the day and the subscriptions that you pay for. But it doesn't equate to an hour, right? It's more of a kind of a fixed fee relationship potentially, or some other kind of pricing model.
Exactly. My prediction is that a lot of services is going to go to fixed fee with an upside. So I'll charge you $25,000 for this litigation of this case, but if we win, I charge you another $25,000. Something like that. But it's not going to be all billable hours.
Exactly. Yes. Well, it's going to be exciting to see it all unravel over the years ahead, and I'm sure there's going to be some exciting times for technology people like yourself to bring new solutions to the mix. So we look forward to seeing that. Hamid, I want to just move to some couple of wrap up questions, if I may. The first of which being, if you could go back to yourself at age 18, what advice would you give yourself?
I probably stay in Silicon Valley. If we had moved away, I moved after 20 years, but if I would have stayed longer, I probably have even a more successful career and probably easier life. Moving to Los Angeles is not the thing.
Excellent. And what's your favorite travel destination?
Favorite travel destination? Venice, Italy.
Okay, lovely.
Even though it's a small place, a lot of people get bored at, I can hang in there for a bit.
Good choice. And finally, Hamid, if there's one message that you hope our legal audience take away today after listening to your kind of story and your message about LegalSoft, what would that be?
Be open-minded, take a bit of risk, have a plan and the discipline to execute it. So, because I see a lot of attorneys come here, agree, want to do it, and then they go home and it goes away. Is having the discipline to implement the plan that you have already decided that is going to help you and your firm, and actually do it.
Excellent. Fantastic advice. Hamid, I really appreciate you taking time out to talk to me today. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you. Same here. Thank you for the invite. Appreciate it.